Hello, Year 7. This is Mr. Hinchliffe. Again, this is looking at our uh, fifth lesson today. But before I get started, I just want to thank the following students for some really great work that's been sent in. So this one was sent to me by Miss Matin. It's Mohammed in 7i, and it's just to share the really good practice and good work. And what's really good about Mohammed's work here is the level of detail that he's put in. I can see that he's carefully read through the different profiles of the different Black Tudors. So for Jack Francis, Mary Phyllis, and Edward Suade, and he's provided so much detail. It's really impressive. And I know for a fact that if I quiz Mohammed on the Black Tudors, he'd be able to give me lots of information, lots of detail. So really good work, Mohammed. Really well done. And then I'd also like to show, this is Zoa from Mrs. Green's class in 7H, and the analysis that Zoa has provided here is absolutely top class. It's fantastic, and really good knowledge here to kind of summarise the information about Jacques Francis. He was a diver. He dived in Mary Rose. He gave evidence in court, and then the analysis here is the fact that he was treated with great respect. His job was impressive. He did an expert job. He gave evidence. People trusted his words. It's really, really great analysis there. And also then for Mary Phyllis, born in Morocco, baptized St. Botolph's, everyone attended. And then the fact that the analysis is really great, showing the idea of integration. It's really good to use that term. We used that term at the start of the year, didn't we? Migration and then integration as well. So successfully living amongst communities. She's respected, she's treated nicely when everyone attended her baptism at St. Botolph's, and the fact that interracial marriages were very common, and they were. So really great analysis from Zoa, really great detail from Mohammed. Keep the good work up, really impressive guys. So our lesson today is a little bit different, and we are going to be actually looking at a preparation lesson. So we would always do this in school anyway. The difference with this is it's going to come completely in the shape of Microsoft Forms. So it's going to be really easy for you to use either via your computer or your mobile. So this is what it would look like on your mobile as well. So this is going to just prep you for next week, where we will ask you to answer the question, how did the Renaissance era change Britain? The first thing then you need to do in this activity, when you get this form, is we're going to revisit some of the key knowledge that you have identified and you've studied over the past 4 weeks. So here are 8 images, and they are numbered 1 to 8, and you can see each of the numbers there. And what you need to do is you then need to answer the following questions. So there's 1 through to 8, so there's 8 questions for each of the pieces of knowledge that you have to identify what it's representing. Now, the most important thing to consider here that is not necessarily the exact piece of knowledge, but the general theme. So for question 1, for example, if we look here, we can see that this is the terracotta bust of King Henry VII. That's the exact piece of knowledge. But if you go to question 1, is there an answer that actually is maybe better than simply saying this is the terracotta bust? Could it be that actually evidence that art began to improve during the Renaissance? This is just an example of that. Okay, so it's just about thinking what best represents the following image. So that's the first thing you need to do, is simply answer questions 1 through to 8 and thinking which is the best representation of that image. And you can keep on looking up if you need to have a look at the image again. One thing I think is really worth showing you, if you are struggling and you like questions to be read to you, is that you can use the immersive reader here. And so you just click this icon here, and you can do it on the task as well. So you'll always see it when you put your cursor over the question. You can even do it on the mobile. So again, look, you can see the little book icon with the little microphone icon there as well. So you can just click on that. And what it will do is it will read it to you. So I'll show you how it works. So it'll bring up this screen, and then all you need to do is simply click play, and it will read the answer for you, the question for you, and the available answers. So let's have a look at listen.
1. Image 1 is representing 1 point. A terracotta bust of King Henry VII. Evidence that art began to improve during the Renaissance. Pietro Torrigiano. End of question. Close the reader to input your answer.
Okay, so it reads it for you. All you need to do then is just go back to the arrow here, and then you're back on the question. So if you find that helpful, do use that. Okay, so let's imagine you've answered the questions. I'm literally just going to select the first option because I have to go to the next section. So I'm just going to click the first answer. It might not be right. It's just me doing this at random. And that means I can go to the next part. Okay, so you've done the questions. Now it's about a little bit of analysis. So we know that we use criteria to assess the impact of events. So, you know, how do we assess whether the Crusades were successful? What was the biggest impact of early migration to Britain as well? And a lot of you would have been introduced to this criteria last half term, which is the R's. So there are 5 in total. We only use R3 at the moment. So we've got resulted in change. So events or individuals had consequences at the time and still have consequences now. Remembered, the past has been remembered throughout time and people still remember it now. Or remarkable, so it would have been quite important at the time and people are still commenting on that event now. So it's worth us considering this to answer the question, did the Renaissance era change Britain? You know, was the Renaissance a huge time of change? Did it have a big impact on what Britain is like now? So what I like to do is, for question 9, I want you to consider which you think had the biggest impact on Britain and changed it the most during the Renaissance. Try to use that criteria. So do you think it was changes to culture? So for lesson 1, looking at how art, architecture and education changes. Do you think it was changes to religion? Martin Luther and his Protestant Reformation and the religious tension and conflict that took place as a result. The printing press as well is involved in that. The Age of Discovery, so the trade with West Africa, the discovery of the Americas with Jamestown, but then the unfortunate creation of the Royal Africa Company and the start of trading of slaves. Or do you think it's the Black Tudors? So the lives of John Blanc, Mary Phyllis, Jack Francis, Edward Suave, and others as well. So once you've selected your reason, and only select one, briefly explain your choice. And that will help you for when you do the assessment next week, which will involve you writing some petal paragraphs to explain why the Renaissance era changed the world. Okay, and that's all you need to do. So there's no Word documents, there's no PowerPoints, you will only get the Microsoft form sent to you, and that is it. So obviously, just make sure you submit all of your answers here in the best detail you can, and your teachers will read them and then give you some feedback. Okay, thank you, Year 7. Hope that is all understandable. Please make sure you get in touch with us if you are not sure. Okay, thank you. Bye.